Hello, and thank you for joining me, and welcome to another of my wonderful interviews. Now, have you ever had that knock on the door? I have fairly recently, just before Christmas actually, and the bloke standing there saying, I've come to collect some money from you, and if I don't get it, I'm going to take your van away, which is not very welcome, especially if you're not feeling very well, or if you happen to be only, say, 5 foot, a woman, and pretty vulnerable to several blokes coming and taking your truck. Well, this is what happened to a guest of mine, and we want to investigate why and where she is. It is Lucy from South Wales. Lucy, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Sounds like you've had a similar experience, only a lot worse. I managed to retain my van so far, although I haven't actually paid yet, so it could happen any day. And I'm always wary of who knocks on the door. So you've had I watched your video, which I saw online in the group that we're both a member of, and I just thought, this is outrageous. These people are very brutish. And then the police come along and they're the same, and they're pretty nasty too. Let's just find out what happened then. What's this all about?
So initially it stems from a maybe £30 parking fine, which was back in October 2022, which I hadn't paid, and I'd had letters, and I hadn't, essentially I hadn't paid the parking fine. So I had a guy come and clamp my vehicle. This was about 2 weeks ago. I didn't tell him my name. I didn't give him any details, because I'm not obligated to do that.
No, quite.
This company have bought the debt. The debt's unlawful in itself anyway. So, but that's a whole nother route to go down. But so I removed the clamp and I continued on with my day, and that was that. However, Thursday morning, Thursday the 1st of February, I woke up, opened my curtains, looked out the window, and my truck is being loaded onto the back of a lorry. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? So obviously, I'm just getting my girls ready in the morning, ran outside, and they tried to stop me from getting into my own vehicle. They were saying, this is not yours anymore. You don't, it's been seized. And I was saying to them, show me evidence, because the vehicle is not registered to my name. The vehicle is owned by a limited company. So it's not even in my name. So they couldn't show me any evidence. They refused to show me the evidence. I was saying, show me on the DVLA website that this vehicle belongs to the person with the alleged debt.
Yes.
They were not. They were just ignoring me, and they were saying, we don't need to do that. And they were just ignoring me. And then I got into the truck, tried to drive it away. But as I was trying to put the engine on, he put the clamp on just in time, so I couldn't move it. And they were being very intimidating. And so I said, I'm calling the police. This is harassment. And then he called the police and said that I'd assaulted him, which I had not. If anything, he had assaulted me. And so obviously my two children are watching this whole situation.
Which must have been
Luckily,
terrifying for them.
yeah, I mean, luckily they know that, certain laws or certain things that are legal, they are very aware that they are not necessarily just, and so we don't have to follow certain things because they are, you know just because just because Nazis done certain things doesn't mean that it was right. And so this is what I try and explain to my girls. So they were okay in the beginning, but then two police officers literally dragged me out of the vehicle and put me up against the police riot van, two riot vans, blue lighted up the road for a little 5 foot girl, right? And they then pinned me up against the riot van, handcuffed me. And that's when my children were very upset, because I think that they could see that I didn't have control of the situation anymore. So yeah, it was very upsetting for my children. I kept saying, please take the handcuffs off. My girls are there.
And
They were,
are you a single lady? With
yes.
no fella to come out to assist you at that point?
Yeah, it was just me and the girls. And it was just completely crazy. There's three men, all very intimidating big men, and then you've got two riot vans blue lighting up the road, dragging me out of the car. And I mean, the only reason the bailiff had accused me of assault, in my opinion, was because he knew that that was the only way I was going to get out of the car. They couldn't get me out of the car any other way. And so if he accused me of assault, then obviously the police would have to remove me to interview me and to caution me or whatever it was that they needed to do. So it was a tactic, you know. They knew that there was no other way they were going to get me out of that vehicle, and they can't put it on the truck with me in it. So
where did they get their authority from a parking ticket of 30 quid to come and then tow your van away, your truck, which must be worth a bit more than 30 quid, one would imagine, to then sell it at auction, which they haven't yet done, I don't think. Is that right? Well, they're just holding it and charging you.
Yeah, I'm in disputes at the moment with them. I mean, this is what I mean. They haven't got the authority. It is completely unlawful what they're doing for so many reasons. They have not got the authority, but it's like how can we fly like eagles when we are communicating with turkeys all the time? You know.
This is it. I mean, it's all very well having laws, but if the other party are not playing by those rules and laws, then you've got no hope. It's again the people with the bigger sticks always win.
And I mean, I'm saying to them, are you aware of the law? Do you know your oath? Right? These very basic things. They don't know the law. These police officers are stood there completely just looking at me. They might as well be cross-eyed. They're just completely oblivious. They don't know the law. You know, and I'm asking them, please, can you ask the bailiff to show you evidence that he has got a legal right to remove this vehicle? So what I'm asking you to do, get him to show you evidence that he is legally allowed to do this. And he's saying, oh, well, according to him. And I said, well, what do you mean according to him? That's not, there's nothing legal there. There's no evidence. And they just...
Well, that's hearsay, isn't it? That's purely hearsay.
Yeah, and then they're saying, you know, at the moment, I need to deal with what's happened. This man's a victim of an alleged assault. So I need to deal with you because he's the victim. And I was
was he on the floor, unconscious? Was there blood pouring out? I mean, we've got the video. We'll have a look at the video in a second. But I mean, he's a big brute.
He was towering over me, pretty much smirking at me. You know, he was all right. I don't think he was too intimidated by me, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I assume you took the weapon out of his stomach and hid it somewhere, you know, so that the police wouldn't find it.
Yeah, stashed it accordingly.
Stashed it accordingly. I mean, it is just outrageous. But surely there must have been some sort of court case to get a warrant from a judge.
Well, this is it, you see. So the warrant, I said, can you please show me the warrant? Okay, and I mean, in one of the videos, because I tried to record as much of the incident as I could, but obviously at the point where I was getting dragged out of the vehicle, they took my phone off me and I couldn't record anymore. But in terms of the warrant, they just showed me a phone with a printed, with a typed up bit of nonsense, which was all in boxes. There was no wet signature. There was no. It's just completely. None of it is lawful, and they're just saying, "Oh, they said wet signatures are a thing of the past now. We don't do that anymore." And I'm saying, "Also, you don't uphold the law anymore." Is that what you're saying?
You're just making it up.
You know, and because there's so many of them all around me, it doesn't matter how well versed you are in the law.
Yes.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got a lot to learn. I'm not saying I'm by any stretch that I know it all, but you know, I clearly knew more than them, and it doesn't matter because when you're surrounded by these people, they're just completely oblivious, and then you just look crazy, you know? So
absolutely. No, I mean, it's just outrageous. So now we can have a look at some of the footage, and I should just warn the audience, there's some fruity language in here, which I'm not at all surprised because you've been taken by surprise. You've got brutes around you. They're not really listening to you. They're not upholding the law. They can't show a proper court, what do you call it? It's a court order. They've got no warrant. There's no writ. And they're just fudging everything. So we've got a series of these to watch. So bear with me as I go and play those in. So let's have a look at the first one here. I've just got to mute something, and then we should see this.
No. Last time you were here, I told you that what you're doing is illegal. What you're doing now is illegal. You have no right to take this vehicle. It is not registered to my name.
It's been registered to your name.
It is not registered to my name. You're not showing me any evidence.
Listen,
I'm asking you to... No, you haven't been through this. Don't you dare stop me getting in my own fucking car. Don't you dare. Fucking... Look at this. officers, get the police here now. What you're doing is illegal. Yeah, yes it is. You've showed me no evidence. Three men coming to show me it then. Right. 3 men turning up at my house, putting a vehicle on a fucking truck. Get your hands off me.
We're on video
Get your yes, you are on video.
You stole our file and I've taken it back off you.
I didn't steal your file. You're trying to steal my fucking car. Show me the evidence. Show me the evidence now. Show me the evidence. Does it feel good doing this to a little lady, does it?
I'm going to end the call, okay? Because I
yeah,
can't
32 Blackfriars, get down here now, please.
Her name is Tara Lucy Jones.
And they're trying to steal my vehicle. No. Illegally. Yes, they're harassing me. And what they're doing is illegal. Yeah. You need to get down here now. I've got a vulnerable child in the house.
There's no point in you shouting, but there.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell the people on the phone.
Well, it's not
I've got a vulnerable child in my house.
You phone now. Is that attached now? Sorry? Is it on, yeah?
I'm not fucking getting out of this car.
Okay. So that's the first video. Then the second one you've got, I think must have been your daughter from the window at the moment where he's... And there you are, and you can see it's a big old wagon they're putting you on. And then the last one I've got here is the police.
I need evidence of all this.
And so there's the vehicle. Look, you can see the
We've
vehicles.
Got loads of police here. It's just me and my children. This guy's still trying to. Cheers. This guy trying to bully me over here.
And there's that. Right, let's go back to Lucy. Gosh, I mean, what an experience. He wouldn't let you shut the door. You could see he was just blocking the door so you couldn't, at least confine yourself from these brutes. I don't know whether they can they, if you're in the vehicle and you manage to get in and shut all the doors and lock the doors and what have you, presumably they can't put you on the low loader.
No, and actually the police, you've just reminded me of something. The police officer actually said to me, if you don't get, because at first he said, he was just asking me to politely, would I get out of the vehicle? And I was saying, absolutely not. And he said, well, he's just told me that he's got the right to remove you if you don't. And I said, so that big guy has told you that he's got the right to physically assault me and you're going to let him do that? And he said, the police officer said, well, he said that he's got the right to do that. And I'm like, well, do you know that he's got the right to do that? Or are you taking
He's got the right to assault you. I mean, no one's got the right to assault anyone.
It's insane that the police officer as well was just saying, well, he says, so I'm going to go with that. And now you have to remember, if you look at this from, if you look at this from a different angle, this guy, the bailiff, was the alpha male of this whole scenario. And you could see that the police officers were kind of, he had control of the whole situation. The police officers were just yes, sir, no, sir to him. It was a wake up call for sure. It wasn't the wake up call I was hoping for on my Thursday morning, but
no.
It certainly woke me up.
What time was it? What time in the morning?
About 8:30.
8:30 in the morning. And we saw 3 police vehicles there, as you say, 2 riot vehicles.
Yeah.
How quickly from the phone call that the bailiff or the enforcement agent rang to the police arriving? They
were there within about, I'd say, 4 or 5 minutes.
That is incredible. I mean, this is exactly what happened to me. The guy went down the end of the lane, turned round the corner. 2 minutes later, 3 police cars. I mean, it was as if they'd set this up.
Yeah.
That they knew there was going to be a little bit of argy-bargy, say, or, why would anyone want to go, oh, yeah, no, just take my van, it's fine, it's no problem. Yeah. So he rang the police, and you may as well have thought I'd pulled a gun out on the guy. And I'm incredulous. And
it's
if you
crazy.
actually want, if you want a policeman, they're never the bloody there.
I mean, I can, I forgot the word I was looking for then, but yes, I can,
concur?
No, I need the word now. I feel like I need to remember it. But anyway, I can relate to that, basically.
Yes.
I've had situations in the past where I have had to call the police for assistance and somebody is getting physically hurt and does need help immediately. And it's taken half an hour, 3/4 of an hour for them to wander in, just finish their lunch and they'll just sort of waltz over casually. You know, you've got a 5'0" lady being harassed by several men, and they blew like 2 riot vans up to drag me out of the car and arrest me in front of my 2 children, handcuffing me. I can't remember. Have I said this out on this, or was it?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
sure if I mentioned. They pulled me out of the vehicle, handcuffed me against the riot van in front of my children, and at that point, obviously, my children were quite distressed.
Scared.
Yeah.
So presumably there is no crime then at 8:30 in all of South Wales on a Thursday morning. You know, that they've got the police sitting by with these vehicles going, oh, well, it's a nice, easy little civil case of a car being arrested, and it's just a single lady. We'll just turn up, it'll be nice and easy, and then we can go back to lunch again, presumably.
It was just, the whole thing is just ludicrous, you know, and there's I've got a list as long as my arm of all the different situations that were completely unlawful, in terms of how the police responded, in terms of how the bailiffs responded, so many different things, you know, and even down to the seizing of the vehicle. You know, the vehicle was, firstly, it's not in my name. It is owned by a limited company. Secondly, and so therefore they're not allowed to seize it.
Well, they must have a contract, mustn't they, with a limited company that you've broached.
Yeah. Secondly, it is used to transport a disabled child on a daily basis. I've got evidence of that because she's got a blue badge. You're not allowed to seize a vehicle from a disabled person. But they're saying, actually, well, it's not a mobility vehicle, so we are, but that's...
So if you don't buy a mobility vehicle and you've got an ordinary vehicle, but your son or daughter happens to be disabled, tough titty...
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying.
You've got, you know, that's discriminatory, isn't it?
100%. It's disgusting. And then thirdly, it's still technically, it was a private purchase and it's still technically being paid off. So it is... I don't fully own it until I've completely paid it off. So it doesn't even belong to the person who the alleged debt is with anyway. And then thirdly, fourth, there's 4 things. And then the other thing is that is needed to earn a living. I need that vehicle to transport me in order to earn a living to, you know, to feed and clothe my children. So there's 4 things that...
Yeah, how much is the debt now that they want to extract from you? If you were to ask, you know, if you were to go to collect the van in order to get it released.
So initially the debt would have been for about 30 quid.
Right.
And then it went up and up and up. And because obviously they charge extortionate amounts for every time they send someone out and the paperwork. So now we're on 1,200 odd, but obviously then they're charging a fee per day that it is being held in wherever it's being held. So it's going to be looking at about £2,000 by the time this gets sorted. And they're saying that I have to make a third-party claim in order to retrieve the vehicle, because I'm saying that I am not the owner of the vehicle. It's owned by a limited company. So you've seized it unlawfully, right? And they're saying, well, you have to make a third-party claim. But I'm saying, why should I have to fill in a form because you have stolen company property? And now you're telling me I need to fill in a form to retrieve it. You need to return it and we can deal with the legal situation, you know, afterwards. You're aware that you've stolen company property, and it's just like this, going straight over their heads. There's no reasoning with them. And I'm at a point now where they've sent me all the information, like they've sent me a letter explaining what I need to send through for the third-party claim. And they've informed me that if the creditor disputes it, now I'm assuming the creditor is the XL Civil Enforcement Company. So if they dispute it, which they will, then I'm liable for the £500 court fees and for there's another fee, I forget what it was, of £255 for something else. So either way, they're just finding ways to rinse you, you know. The whole thing is just completely unbelievable. I haven't quite wrapped my head around it all fully, if I'm quite honest with you yet.
But I mean, very brave of you to deal with these people at the door, because I know how frightening it can be. And loads of people, you know, vulnerable people like you, You seem quite cheerful. I know actually you're feeling a bit different than how it might seem.
Yeah.
And we all get that, you know, and the fright of somebody coming and taking your property. And a lot of people are in that situation, perhaps watching this now, or likely to. Or they've got a thing they can't pay, they've been unable to pay, they've been away, they've been ill for whatever reason. And then the next thing you know are these brutes, just unreasonable behaviour, and towing away your property. And as I say, your truck is clearly worth more than 30 quid. How they can do that when you depend on it for work, you depend on it for your daughter.
Yeah.
And there's
mean, the thing is, I mean, in all honesty, they don't intimidate me, you know, because I can see that they are, you know, anyone that does that for a job. I mean, come on, they go home at night feeling really like really big masculine men that they've done their part for the community today by dragging a little lady out of her car in front of her children. I mean, if anything, I feel sorry for these people, you know. And I did say to them, like, where is your humanity? Where is your conscience? How can you sit there and do this? Come on, look at what's going on here, you know. But it's just like there's nothing there. I mean,
they are zombies, aren't they?
It really, they are. I mean, it was on face value. It is intimidating. It's not something you want to wake up in the morning and go deal with. But I think more of us need to be standing up and need to be saying no, absolutely not to these people, because they are acting unlawfully. And what happens is when things are done unlawfully and continue to be done over and over again, it becomes the norm, and then it's accepted. Yes. And then people think, oh, that's just how it is. That is not. And
if they tell the lies enough times, oh, we've got the right to do this. You know, people believe they have the right, but if they haven't got the magistrate's court signed with wet ink, that is genuine, and these sort of digital stuff is no good, because that can be manipulated. Well, anybody can put something on there and go, oh yes, I've got it. Look, that's it. You can see it there.
Well, there we go. You know, I could just write a little box. Put a little box on my phone, and I could go over to some company and say, right, I'm seizing this vehicle. What should stop me? Because what he's got there in his hand,
they're third parties anyway.
Yeah.
They're not bailiffs working for the court. They're enforcement agents, which are third parties. Yeah. So unless they can actually give you the paperwork, they have no right whatsoever. That's what I've been led to believe. And same in my case. And yet they are quite happily steal with the assistance of the police, who are supposed to be working for us but clearly are not. It is just outrageous.
And you know, they didn't even show me any evidence of their cards, you know, their ID cards.
Right.
There were so many things that, and the one guy, the big guy, kept saying, no, I don't have to do that. No, I don't have to. He's saying, this is not your vehicle anymore. And it was like he was enjoying it, you know. And I just thought, wow, how do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night?
I'm guessing there is no, you know, like many of these industries have an ombudsman that ensures that good workmanship is being carried out, or that people are keeping to the law. I'm assuming that these enforcement agents, any old thugs, can get together, put a letterhead together, and then say, here's a question for you. Maybe I've been watching somebody else who deals with these people. When you get the fine, they're often VAT registered, but they are legally supposed to put the VAT on what they're charging, because if they've bought the debt, they have to, and they're a VAT registered company. But very often you get this, you know, end figure, and you say, well, what's the VAT on that then? And they say, oh, it's not VAT registered. Well, if they say it's not VAT registered, that's illegal if they're a VAT registered company. So have a look at their paperwork. Yeah.
In terms of, and I mean, to be honest, I don't know an awful lot about that, but I am learning.
Well, me too. I mean, this is it, you know. We've all got to learn how to deal with these thugs.
But the police even, you know, I've called the police and I've said, look, your officers have been, have aided and abetted in the theft, the unlawful theft of my vehicle today. They have participated in this, so I'd like to make a complaint. And they're just saying, oh, well, it's a civil matter. And I'm saying, no, it's a crime. Theft is a crime.
Well, now you're a victim.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. It may have been civil to begin with, but once they've stolen your vehicle, you are a victim.
Yeah, and theft is a crime. You know, it's
Yes.
not that it's a civil matter. You have stood there and allowed them to steal my vehicle unlawfully, right? And they're just fobbing me off, saying you have to log it online or something like that. And I'm saying, well, no, I want to speak to a senior officer. No senior officer available. In terms of the actual XL civil enforcement, I'm saying, right, I want to be put through to your legal team, please, so that I can have a discussion about all the unlawful sort of acts that have happened. And they're just giving me the email address info at
Yes.
I've written, obviously I said I've written letters to the 6 directors of the company. They're just fobbing me off. It's really difficult because we're going round and round in circles. And I mean, this is how they get you, isn't it? Because you just get to a
you're
point.
Dealing with the mafia, and that's with a legalized mafia, and they're just permitted to break the law left, right, and centre.
Yeah, and I mean, you get to a point where, I mean, I'm not at that point yet, but you do get to a point where you just think, oh, do you know what? It's just not worth the stress. Just pay it.
But it's a lot of money, isn't it, for a £30 fine? I mean, that's where it starts to irk you.
It's not even. It is the money. It is the money, but it's not. It's the principle, you know. It's the fact that this is not okay. This is not okay, and we cannot keep standing for this, because it's happening in all echelons of society with all different things.
You're right, and it's getting worse with the ULEZ and these clean air zones, and people are being entrapped and on the gantries, on the motorways.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hearing this all the time, and this entrapment and this basically this money, this cash cow, which is us, is being extracted by these bully boys left, right, and centre. I mean, it's nice work if you can get it.
Yeah, and you know they're just siphoning humanity. You know, it's just. There's just so much. It's like we're in a cage, and you know, and don't even get me started on what they're doing with our children in the schools.
Well, exactly.
Like that,
I know that you have appeared on Lou Collins's Liberty Tactics about what's going on with the children, and I always recommend people to check that out, because that's another subject which is very dark. And
it's something that I think people need to be more aware of, and not to divert from the discussion at hand, but I do think it's all about awareness. And you know what the problem is? People think that they aren't people to back them up, you know, and actually there are millions and millions of us that are standing up, and we are facing this head on, and we're doing what we can. And whether we win or whether we don't or whatever, we're doing it, you know, and we need more of us to do it, because we are the people and we have the power. They are the minority. So, and if it's only a couple of us standing up, then they do win. But if we join forces and we really make a stand, then we can fight this. But we have to empower and inspire each other to actually do that, you know.
I totally agree. And the more we acquiesce to them, the more it's going to continue.
Absolutely.
I think their days are numbered.
Yeah.
And all of this nonsense will come to an end. But meanwhile, the more people that can get on board and actually begin to understand what's lawful and what is legal, and point out when these illegalities, there we are, managed to spit the word out, are happening. It's very important. Lucy, thank you so much for coming on at short notice and telling us about it. Good luck with all of that. I'll be following in the group that we're in. On WhatsApp.
I will. I'm more than happy to come back on, and fingers crossed I can come back on and tell you how I defeated it and got around it and sorted it out. So hopefully I can come.
Well, that will be a good message to show people, because I think one of the problems that we have is you often hear the stories of how people are treated and stuff goes on, but we really need those positive stories where people win, so that other people go, oh right, great, I'm going to give it a whirl, because otherwise
I can do that. Absolutely. You know, there is a way. There are ways, but it's about, and this is just very quickly before we go. I mean, for me personally, I've done certain things, and I'm aware of certain things regarding the law, the difference between legal and lawful, and all these things. But there are still things that I did not know before this was knocking on my door, you know. And so the real key is to arm yourself with the knowledge and the information now, so that you don't have to do it in a panic when it's at your door, you know. So really, just knowledge is power, you know. So get out there and find out what you need to find out. Get in touch with the people, you know, anyone that can give you bits of information, and just start swatting up and learning your rights, because we need to. We're at a point now where we really need to, you know. So
yeah. Brilliant. Good
but
luck with it all. No, my pleasure. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're in a situation like that, then obviously we are there for you in our thoughts and minds, and keep watching the channel because more information will come out. But there are people out there, many WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups, helping you sort these things out. But I know how awful it can feel if you're on your own. It can feel like the whole world has crashed around you. A big thanks to Lucy there for being so honest with her story, and we wish her well. In the meantime, I'll be back with more monologues and more wonderful interviews. Till next time, from Lucy and I, thanks for watching. Goodbye.